This fence is clearly 2 feet over the property line, Judge. I suggest you move it by tomorrow or my lawyer will be in touch. I'm so sorry, Judge, but his internal injuries are quite severe. We're doing everything we can, but he's still in critical condition. The roof is gonna give way. Everybody back, move it! Watch the collapse zone.
Ma'am, you're under arrest!
This is a mistake. I want my lawyer. Mrs. Dalton, did you steal the funds?
The smell of my burned house was still in my hair when she walked into my courtroom. I sat behind the bench in my black robes watching Coralyn Vale Harrington shuffle forward in shackles and an orange jumpsuit, and I thought about the morning 6 months earlier when she had shown up at my fence with a pink tape measure and looked at me like I was something she had scraped off her shoe. My name is Laya Ravenscroft, federal judge, 2 decades on the bench, and 6 months ago I was the most broken I had ever been in my life. My husband Simon had died 4 months before Coralyn moved in. 28 years of marriage gone and 18 months of cancer and hospitals and false hope. Our 1940s craftsman home in Maplewood Ridge had been our whole life together. Simon's roses still bloomed in the garden. His coffee mug was still on the counter. I couldn't bring myself to move it. I was installing the privacy fence Simon and I had planned together in his final months when Coralyn appeared for the first time. She didn't offer condolences. She didn't introduce herself. She just snapped her tape measure against my fence post and announced I owed $500 for a structure 2 inches over regulation height. The structure was exactly 6 feet. I had hired a licensed surveyor. That evening I pulled her name through court records. 3 years earlier, Vale Construction had appeared before my bench attempting to defraud an 80-year-old veteran out of $30,000 for fake roof repairs. I had ruled hard against them and referred the case for fraud investigation. This wasn't about fence height. This was revenge. What followed over the next 2 months was a harassment campaign disguised as HOA enforcement. 7 violation notices in 10 days. Simon's memorial stone cited for non-conforming garden features. My mailbox flagged for color violations. My bird feeder, the one where cardinals came every morning because cardinals had been Simon's favorite, declared a nuisance condition. Then her landscaping crew came through my open back gate, a gate she had deliberately left unlatched during an illegal trespassing visit while I was in court. Justice was Simon's cat. He had found the cat during a thunderstorm in the courthouse parking lot 3 years earlier and brought him home wrapped in his jacket. Justice had curled on Simon's lap through every chemotherapy session. He was my last living connection to 28 years of love. I found him 2 days later in an emergency veterinary clinic. Ribs broken, severely dehydrated. The vet said the injuries were consistent with being chased by high-powered machinery through a storm drain. I filed criminal charges for unlawful entry and animal cruelty. Then I started digging into her finances. What I found stopped me cold. Coralyn had filed the same insurance fraud scheme in 3 previous states. Create conflict in stable neighborhoods, document supposed hazards, collect payments, disappear before investigations concluded. Her current home was insured for $2.8 million. Her actual purchase price was $800,000. And then I found the document that ended everything. She had filed preliminary insurance damage claims citing structural hazards and fire risk at her property. The timestamp on that filing was 2:30 in the morning. My house burned at 3:17. She filed the paperwork 47 minutes before my house was on fire. I was sleeping at my neighbor Walt's home when the explosion shook the windows. I watched 28 years of memories burn from 3 blocks away. Simon's kitchen, our bedroom, the memorial garden where his ashes lay among the roses. Coralyn showed up at the scene at 4:30 in full makeup with a news crew. She stood 50 feet from the house she had torched and told the camera that my refusal to cooperate with safety inspections may have contributed to this devastating loss. The FBI had been recording her for 6 hours by then. The arson investigator found accelerant trails. The insurance investigator found the time-stamped claim filed before ignition. Security footage showed Vale Construction's crew entering my property at 2:45 in the morning. Attempted murder of a federal judge, first-degree arson, insurance fraud across multiple states, money laundering, conspiracy. She walked into my courtroom 6 months later in shackles. I had recused myself from the case. I sat in the gallery instead. When the verdict came back, I did not celebrate. I just sat quietly and thought about Simon and his coffee mug still on the counter and the cardinals coming to the feeder every morning and the fence we had planned together in his last months. The jury took less than 4 hours. Life without parole. I walked home through the neighborhood afterward past the construction site where my new house was being rebuilt. Simon's roses had survived the fire. Nobody could explain it, but they had. Coming up through the ash and the disturbed soil exactly where he had planted them. He always said patient things outlast impatient people. Standing there in the evening quiet, watching cardinals move through the rose canes, I finally understood what he meant.